This training is intended to prepare volunteers to assist with the Emerald Ash Borer Biocontrol Monitoring Project, and guidance will also be provided at each survey by our SLELO staff. So Robert and I, we really cannot express enough how vital the volunteers are to the success of this project. Over 29 volunteers contributed over 300 hours over the course of 17 weeks last year. And it's really because of the hard work of these volunteers that we were able to confirm the presence of all 3 EAB parasitoid wasps that you are going to hear more about later today. So just thank you again for all of your support, and we're really excited that you're here today. Here is just a quick snapshot of what we're going to cover during this training. So to begin with, the St. Lawrence Eastern Lake Ontario Partnership for Regional Invasive Species Management, also known as SLELO PRISM, is one of 8 PRISMs that span the state of New York, and it creates a network of partnerships as an integrative approach to invasive species management. And the PRISM network is funded by the Environmental Protection Fund in coordination between the Department of Environmental Conservation and various host organizations. The boundaries of SLELO PRISM include the 5 counties of Oneida, Oswego, Jefferson, Lewis, and part of St. Lawrence. SLELO PRISM is hosted by the Nature Conservancy, and we collaborate with regional and statewide partners to protect our lands and waters from the impacts of invasive species. We really appreciate your interest in assisting our biocontrol program, and we have some other opportunities that you may want to participate in as well, which I'll cover next. So we encourage you to take our Pledge to Protect, which is an outreach initiative aimed to engage and inspire you to take action to protect your favorite outdoor spaces from invasive species now and for generations to come. Upon sign up, you become what we call a protector. You receive a monthly email blog showcasing simple actions that you can take throughout the year to prevent the spread of invasives or to manage invasives on your own property. In addition, you'll get access to virtual resources and social media kits with pre-made graphics and posts that you can share on your social network. Plus, you'll get chances to win some pretty cool prizes. If you're interested in joining, you can visit our website at ipledgetoprotect.org or scan that code. And also, we encourage you to sign up to be added to our volunteer list to be notified of volunteer opportunities, such as water chestnut pulls, removal or restoration efforts, guided paddles, and much more. Those who volunteer with us can also participate in a challenge where you earn different prizes for each level of participation that you achieve. One of the exciting volunteer opportunities we've got planned this summer is a water chestnut pull on July 11th on the Oswegatchie River near the village of Hewelton up in St. Lawrence County. We do have some extra kayaks and a few seats and canoes and some other equipment available, so don't worry if you don't have your own. And lunch is going to be provided, and it's just a great way to spend your day out on the water. And lastly, we'd like to invite you to join us for a 3-part learning series to be held this spring and summer. The training is perfect for waterfront property owners, lake associations, anybody who just likes to spend time on the water and wants to learn more about aquatic plants. So the training for this is kicking off this Friday via Zoom at 6:30 p.m. And we do have limited seats available for the June 11th workshop at the Rice Creek Field Station. And we've got plenty of seats open for the paddle on July 16th, which is going to be at South Caldwell Pond in Lakeview Wildlife Management Area in Ellisburg, which is in Jefferson County. And now Robert is going to give you an overview of our EAB Biocontrol program.
All right, good afternoon. Like Megan was saying, we can't thank you enough for participating in this and volunteering for this. Last year we couldn't have done this without you. This is a very big event for us. I think I would call it the biggest their volunteer event because it went for 4 months, every week for 4 months. And you never left me there all by myself going to go through do all the collecting and all identifying. So thank you for the help last year and the help you're going to provide this year. It's awesome. All right, let me get started. This for folks that were here that did this last year. I mean, this is just going to be a refresher for you. I didn't change up anything. Keep it consistent. All right. we're gonna start with a little background. All right, go ahead. The USDA's EAB Biocontrol Release Program involves 2 years of releasing the EAB parasitoid wasps, and then it's followed up by 2 years of conducting establishment surveys. And 2022 and 2023, we completed the releases at Rice Creek Field Station. Total parasitoid wasps by species released was 2,347 Spacius gallinae, 5,652 Tachasticus planopeneses, and 2,200 Ubius agrelli. That's a grand total of 10,199 EAB biocontrol insects released at this site. So there's a lot of insects. In 2024, we conducted our first year of establishment surveys, which we did using yellow pan traps. At the end of it, we were able to confirm with the USDA that we found 2 Ubius, 11 Spacius, and 1 Sartasticus. And just,
Wow.
yeah, it's
I'm
like,
sorry.
yeah, I mean, for some people that might not sound like much, but then, you got to understand it is a presence absence survey. So if you find one, that means there that the that species survived the release. They're survived to do new generations last year. So basically, all if we got at least one of each, which we did, it shows that those species are, I said, are forming new generations, and they're being, they were being produced. This year, we're basically verifying that they are continuing to establish the populations at this site. Next. All right. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about each of the parasitoid wasps that were released. Ubius agrelli targets the inside of EAB eggs. So it injects its own eggs inside the eggs there of the EAB. The larvae will then emerge, inside that EAB's egg, feed on the EAB embryo, and then kill the egg. There's at least 2 generations that are produced each year. This species of parasitoid wasp overwinters as a larvae in the EAB egg and will emerge as an adult in the spring. Ubius agrelli parasitizes up to 60% of EAB eggs laid during the summer in some areas of China. So, hopefully we're having similar results here. And each Ubius adult parasitizes up to 80 or around 80 EAB eggs during its lifetime. So it has a lot of impact. All right, we're going to move on now to Spacius gallinae. Spacius gallinae targets the EAB larvae by paralyzing it and then laying about 8 eggs on the outside of the host. The larvae will emerge, they'll feed, they'll grow, and they will kill the EAB larvae. That's what's it called. They're called ectoparasitoids. There are 1 to 2 generations that are produced each year. This species of parasitoid wasp overwinters as larvae or pupae and will emerge as an adult in the summer. Spacius gallinae is the newest of the EAB parasitoids. It was approved for release in 2015. It fills an important niche because it's long ovipositor, which you can see right there on the back side of the Spacius. It's very long and allows it to parasitize EAB larvae in large diameter ash trees, up to 23 inches in DBH or diameter at breast height. All right, moving on to Tachasticus. Tachasticus planopenese targets EAB larvae by laying its eggs inside of it. So the larvae will emerge from its egg, feed, grow, and kill the EAB larvae from the inside out, which is called endoparasitoid. One EAB larva can produce up to 130 Tetracycus adults. And there are several generations that are produced each year. This species of parasite wasp overwinters as a larvae in the host or as a what they call pre-pupae in the host gallery. They will pupate and emerge as adults in the spring. All right, next slide. All right. Good. Go on to the next slide. We'll just go ahead and go on to the EAB Biocontrol Establishment Survey itinerary here. We'll start with the EAB Biocontrol Establishment Surveys. They'll occur every Wednesday from June to September. We'll meet at 10 a.m. right there in front of Rice Creek Field Station building. From there, we'll go to each of the yellow pan traps that are located near the blue and orange trails. Samples will be collected from each trap and then taken to the lab at the field station. Once in the lab, we'll sort through the samples using a microscope and examination tools. Any insect that we think is a EAB biocontrolled insect will go in a vial. These vials will be stored in the refrigerator at Rice Creek and then sent out monthly to the USDA lab in Michigan.
Okay.
All right, next slide. All right. So how do yellow pan traps work? They work because as many species of adult bees and wasps are attracted to the color yellow of all things. So there's really quite simplistic trap. So you're drawing in a bunch of different bees and wasps and a few other kinds of insects. Just the color alone traps them. They get drawn to it. And the ones that they attract includes, of course, our parasite wasps, and it also actually does native naturalized parasitoid wasps like Atanacolis, some native Spathius, a few others there that are also EAB larval parasitoids, but don't just exclusively target EAB, so impact's kind of low. Wasps, along with other insects, will fly to the color of the pan, and then they'll get stuck in the mixture of propylene glycol and dish soap, which weakens the surface tension that we put in, of the liquid in the yellow pan trap. Next. All right, so where are we setting up the traps? We plan to set up these traps on 15 ash trees according to USDA's recommendations. And if you are, you did this last year, they're the same locations with the exception of the one that was out in the really, really swampy area. I'm sure you all know which one I'm talking about. I selected a tree that was closer to the road, so we don't have to go through that again this year. All right, the recommendations included for placing them on the south, southwest, or west side of trees along forest edges, so relatively close to the trail systems that surround the release area. So that's where they are. For Ubius, we recommended ash trees with fresh woodpecker damage and less than 30% dieback. Spathius gallinae and Tritascus penipenici. Their guide states that higher dieback up to 80–90% is fine. So most of the trees I selected have less than, or had, I'll have to say, less than 30% dieback, since they are most likely to have all three species. Also woodpecker damage, which attracts Ubius. The dieback, if you've been out there, is, well, it's greater than 30% now. When I selected them, it was there 2 years ago. It was less than 30%. the EAB is really, getting to those ash trees. So we're putting them on the best trees we can. Shouldn't be a problem.
Wow.
All right. When and how to collect. We will be checking each trap once a week. Each visit will involve pouring the contents of the trap through a peat filter. A squirt bottle. We'll use that to dislodge any insects that are stuck in the bowl. The propylene glycol that is in the pan is food safe. So when we're pouring it on the ground, because it goes through the paint filter and then the liquid pours onto the ground, that is perfectly okay because the propylene glycol is safe. The open end of the paint filter will then be folded over and placed into a labeled Ziploc bag. The trap will then be refilled with just a few drops of dish soap and a 20% propylene glycol solution. All right, and I already think I talked about occurs within. Yeah, it's the USDA just recommends there that they're stored in a refrigerator. If they have to be stored for a long time, which we don't, then they would be placed, in a freezer. All right, next slide. Processing insects from yellow pan traps. All right. Once in the lab, the insects will be removed from the paint filters and placed on a petri dish. Alcohol will be added that helps break up the sample, and then sorting for the EAP parasitoid wasp will occur using a microscope that is first set at the lowest magnification. Those insects that appear to be similar to the EAB parasitoid wasps there, which will have posters and all that. I'll talk about that in a minute. We also have samples, but they'll, once you see something that looks like they could be, separate those out from the rest of the stuff and then increase your magnification. So zooming in and look for the little details. All the insects suspected of being an EAB parasitoid wasp are placed in a 95% solution of ethanol. Paper label would be placed in the vial with the site and date written on it using a pencil. Vials should be stored there in the refrigerator and are until shipped to the USDA APHIS lab for positive identification, which I mentioned before will be monthly. And whatever the results, whenever I get the results, I will let you all know how they come up. Sometimes they're a little disappointing. Some weeks we get nothing, and some weeks it's like we get a few, and that's great. Alcohol that's in those vials will be poured out prior to overnight shipment because it's against the U.S. postal laws to have to ship them with the alcohol. All right, EAP parasitoid wasp identification. All Spatheus species, including Spatheus gallinae, have bodies that are reddish brown except for the abdomen, which is a dark brown or black. Their wings have brown veins, and their forewings are tinged brown with clear band areas. The high wings are clear but still have brown veins. Their heads are spherical and their antennae are very long, over 26 segments. With a total length that's 1.2 times the length of the body, not including the ovipositor. All right. Next. All right. Spatheus gallinae's body is also reddish brown with a dark brown or black abdomen, as all species in the genus Spatheus. The wings of Spatheus gallinae have spotted clear areas rather than a distinct stripe, which you can see right there clearly in the picture. Very spotty. The ovipositor is long relative to the size of the body, and the base of the tibia Of all the legs is yellowish. You can see that I have a little arrow pointed to it at the bottom left picture. The back of the head is smooth and wrinkle free, which is different than some other Spatheus species which have wrinkles. All right, Spatheus lookalikes. This insect here, let me see. This here has short, quite different than the Spatheus galley, which here, next. Oh, I see. This insect has short antennae and wings is quite different than the Spatheus gallinae, which has clear spotted areas. See here on the picture, see how they're banded. And I know we saw some of these last year. We don't want the bands, we want it to be spotty. You know, the ovipositor on this one is also too short. All right. This insect doesn't have a spherical head. It's more oval. So you gotta look for that. The femur of the legs is also large or swollen in appearance. I got to put a little arrow pointing towards it. That's not typical of Spatheus. The antennae there are also much shorter than what is seen on Spatheus. The wings on this one are clear, not brown tinged with clear spotted areas, and has a body with it's more yellow than brown. You can definitely say yellow, which is just not going to be Spatheus. All right, we'll move on to Tritasticus. Tritasticus planopenisi is another parasitoid wasp that we released at Rice Creek Field Station. It has red to dark red eyes. The females have a tapered shape, which can be seen in the narrowing abdomen. The final segment of the female's abdomen is uniquely long. In fact, it's 4 times as long as it is wide at the base. The female abdomen is longer than the thorax, which you can see clearly in the picture. Both sexes have 2 longitudinal grooves on the middle thoracic segment, which you can see in the bottom left picture. This might be a little tricky to see when we're in the lab, but we'll look for it. It also has a dark femur, which you can see in the bottom right picture. And their wings are clear. So you might see something similar to this, but if you don't have look for those things I just talked about, like the clear, if they're not clear wings, you're not looking at Tritasticus, and you can just put that one to the side. All right. On the top right picture here, you can see those long eyelash like hairs, a crucial key feature on this. They're also known as setae. Tritasticus planopenisi also has a long terminal segment, which can be seen in the lower left picture, and a smooth dark thorax, as you can see in the bottom right picture. All right. The antennae of the Tritasticus planopenisi male and female are slightly different. The females have 6 segments. Those are the scape, which is segment 1, the pedicel, which is segment 2, 3 funicles, which are segments 3 through 5, and 1 clava, which is segment 6. The males have 1 more segment, so they have 7. Those are the scape, which is segment 1, the pedicel, which is segment 2, 4 funicles, which are segments 3 through 6, and 1 clava, which is segment 7. The clava for both sexes is thin and long. The antennae are also quite hairy, with the hairs having a look of eyelashes, like we mentioned before. All right, some lookalikes. You may see other insects that look like similar to Triticus planipennice. This insect's antennae are too short, so it can be eliminated as Triticus. The insect on the left has antennae hairs that point out in all directions, so it's too spiny to be Triticus. The insect on the right has a clear femur, and the hairs stick out, not curled eyelash-like hairs that are seen on Triticus. The setae or hairs on the antennae of this insect are way too long to be Triticus planipennice. The abdominal segment of this insect is way too short. And this slide demonstrates the amount of Triticus lookalikes you may see in a single sample. So yeah, all those that have done this before know there's a lot of sorting before you can get those ones that you think are close enough there that they just might be Triticus planipennice or any of the other two. You just need to sort through the characteristics and eliminate or look at the characteristics, which either eliminate or support them being Triticus. And these include looking for like the wrong antennae or the wrong thorax, wrong legs, wrong wings. All right. All right. After you're done sorting out your sample, show me what you believe to be the species of parasitoid wasp we released. This is kind of a double check system that we have. I'm not an entomologist. Probably none of you are entomologists, but they're not asking us. They're not requiring us to be entomologists. So you take the information that I'm providing for you and try to pull out the ones that you think are the right ones to the best of your ability. Then bring it over to me and I will go through exactly those same steps as you. And if we both think that it might be, we're going to send it out. Like the slide says, when in doubt, send it out. And that's coming straight from the USDA. I could put quotation marks on that. So they don't mind if we send something out that might not be it, as long as we went through and carefully screened for the correct species. They understand we're not entomologists, and sometimes it's best to put one in that you're not absolutely sure on, and let the experts, real entomologists at the USDA, give us the positive ID. All right. Ubius agrilli is released for EAB Biocontrol are all parthenogenic females. That means they do not need to mate and they only produce daughters.
Jeez.
Adults are very small, around 1 millimeter long, really small. They have compact, stout bodies with no waist, and you'll see lookalikes for sure. But look for things that are really clear as the no waist. So if you see a narrowing waist area on the insect, you're not looking at Ubius. And also a visible short ovipositor. We can see right there on the back. If you're not seeing a short little stubby ovipositor, you're not looking at Ubius, and you can just push that to the side. But if you see those two in combination, we might have something there. Raise your hand, show me, and if I agree, we will ship it out to the USDA. Yeah, their body color is black to dark brown, with a blue-green sheen and reddish eyes. All right, the segments of the antennae before they're before the club clava. The segment there of the antennae before the club clava is clear to yellow. I put a little arrow pointing at that, upper left. While the other segments are darker. The tarsus, or foot, of Ubius agrilli has 4 tarsal segments. All known native species of Ubius there have 5 tarsal segments. So there's one way of just eliminating any native Ubius there, from what we would put in the vials. The antennae of the Ubius agrilli has 9 segments. Those are the scape, which is segment 1, the pedicel, which is segment 2, 6 funicles, which are segments 3 through 8, and the clava, which is segment 9. The clava is distinctly clubbed, and the antennae are elbowed or reticulate. So you can see that. You can see that big club-like clava, very distinct, and just how the antennae there are bent like elbowed, not straight out. They're like this. All right, I just wanted to show you there the egg or the insect leg. Just a little close up there to give you some idea of tarsus, which is like a foot, and tibia, femur. I know if you're not overly familiar with the etymology terms, they can be confusing. Go ahead, next slide. All right, you may see a few native naturalized EAB biocontrol insects in your sample. There are a few native, and I'm going to mess this all up, tentacleless species that you may encounter. They are all large with a distinct red or orange abdomen. In contrast, the head and thorax are jet black. So you can see that on the upper right, that abdomen is it's good that we if we see those, let me know. But they're quite distinct from our lookalikes. Phasganophora sulcate is a native solitary endoparasitoid of EAB that has a red-orange section of the abdomen. You see that down on the bottom right. And like I said, if you see those, you can feel free to raise your hand, point them out to me. We can log those two as being present, even though that's not the primary job of what you're all doing this summer, which is finding those 3 that we released. All right. Belka indica is naturalized in eastern U.S. and is native to Southeast Asia. It's a solitary ectoparasitoid of EAB. You may also find native agrilis species, which you see there in the 2 on the bottom right. Which agrilis is the native, is the same genus as EAB. One species is Agrilis subcinctus. It looks like EAB in overall shape, but it's smaller and brown, and it feeds on recently dead ash. And yeah, we have some recently dead ash, so we may see some of that. And one that they don't say is you might actually see EAB, which we did last year. And if you do, please raise your hand for that too. I'd like to, know how many times those are found in the yellow pan traps. All right, when you're processing the yellow pan trap samples, you will find a lot of debris. Insects often get stuck to this debris, so you'll have to check all this debris for potential parasitoid wasps. Whether you check all the debris at once or a little bit at a time, it is up to you. As long as it all gets checked. Everybody's got their own little method. As long as you get to everything, your method is your method. I'm not going to argue with it. We have a sample parasitoid wasps. In fact, new ones. So if you're here last year, you probably know they were getting beaten up. The USDA was kind enough after I asked them and told them that our old samples were beat up to send me some nice new samples. And they sent it like in 2 days. I asked for it on a Monday and they gave them to me on a Wednesday. So, that's my shout out for the USDA on that. All right. Oh, make sure you're comparing your sample with the sample with your sample with the sample wasps at the same magnification. So don't get, so that you you can see the size difference, even though size can, can vary, as in this photo. Here you can see the difference between EAB Ubius agrilli and Trichascus planopenisi. So, the EAB it's a fairly good sized insect. Trichascus, not so much, and Ubius is really, really tiny. But do not rely just on size alone, since this can vary depending on clutch size and the size of its host. All right, recommended equipment. The area where the yellow pan traps are located has a lot of multiflora rose, which is an invasive rose species. This means lots of thorns around the traps. I am tried to, clear around there, clear a path for everybody. And in fact, on Friday, I'm going to re-clear the paths to try to keep the thorns away from you. But, watch out for the thorns still the same, keep your elbows in and look out for the thorns. It's also kind of mucky, especially early in the season. I did move that one pan trap that was mucky all year so that we won't run into that problem for the entire year, but early in the season, a lot of them might be mucky. So make sure you have some, good boots there that you can, there for going through mucky areas. It is recommended that everyone wear pants, preferably pants that are resistant to thorns. I like to wear jeans; those seem to be pretty good. You may also want to wear a shirt with sleeves, but that can be difficult. If it's cooler early in the season, maybe the rest when it's really hot, you might not be able to wear sleeves. So just, I said, watch where your arms are so you don't get all scratched up from the thorns. We'll be walking in some off-trail areas, those paths that I cleared, which means uneven ground, moist areas. So yeah, wear good protective foot, boots, like I was saying. Our surveys are time sensitive, which means we need to collect the samples, rain or shine. So rain is a possibility for the day, so you should bring rain gear to prevent getting soaked. I expect some of the days that we go out to be quite hot. Everybody should bring water. We don't need anybody dehydrating out there. And if you happen to have thorn resistant overalls, which I didn't need last year. I did when I was doing the releases and then collecting all the release material that I was still out there. Because I had to do a lot of bushwhacking through the multiflora rows. But if you happen to, have thorn resistant overalls like I was wearing for those events, you want to use them, you're welcome to do so. Oh, I don't think we mentioned it on here, but quickly, it's like I think most of you know, but we have different posters, like 3 different posters that have they each for like each one of the parasitoid wasps. They're basically the same as the one that they were last year. They'll be at everybody's table next to the microscopes so that you can both compare your samples to the pictures on the posters. And you also have those samples I got from the USDA, which will be at a microscope that's already set up, and you just need to bring your sample over. drop some of the USDA provided parasitoid wasp sample of that species there, and just basically go between the two petri dishes and see if your sample looks exactly like the USDA sample. Just don't mix them the two. Keep your sample in your petri dish, and keep the sample from the USDA in a separate petri dish. And I believe that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. And just a couple next steps for everybody to consider. So every Monday, beginning in June on the 2nd, an email will be sent to you from my email, and Robert will be copied. Please respond to that calendar invite that will be in the email if you will, or if you will not be joining that week's survey. This helps us learn how many people to expect that day. So just let us know if you're going to be coming. The first survey is going to be on Wednesday, June 4th at 10 a.m. at the Rice Creek Field Station. We'll meet, in front of the building. And also you can text Robert if you're going to be late. His number is listed here. I'll include it also in the emails that are sent out on Monday as well. So you'll have his contact information should you need it. And then also the June 11th survey, we have reached capacity as this is part of our invasive species symposium. So unless you've been contacted to assist with the June 11th survey, just go ahead and plan to skip that day. If any seats do open up, I'll email the volunteer group that Monday, but just plan to skip the June 11th for now. So you won't be getting an email from me that week unless some seats open up. And I'd also just like to emphasize that please do record the time that you spend volunteering for this project, including the drive time. We have a volunteer time log. This helps us to just better recognize our volunteers' efforts, and we also like to give out prizes. So that helps us learn, who's joined us throughout the survey. And a link to this is going to be for the time log will be included in the weekly Monday emails. It'll also be in the follow-up email for this training, and it's also on our website. If you just hit the volunteer tab, I took a screenshot here. If you go to our main website at sliloinvasives.org, hit volunteer, and then over here, report time, you'll see this. This is the top of the form. You'll see this pop up, and you just answer the couple quick questions, and then you've recorded your time. And that's it for our presentation. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, feel free to come off of mute or utilize the chat.
So if we find the wasps, that means they've now overwintered a second winter. They've reproduced. That's a good sign, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's why the
And what-
USDA does a second year of these yellow pan trap surveys. As maybe they're not doing all that well, and just having 1 year of the yellow pan trap surveys, might indicate that they're present, but we don't really know how, if they're if they have a healthy population that will thrive and establish in time. So that's why they asked for the second one there. If we can get 2 surveys in a row that are yellow pan trap survey seasons in a row that say that, where we find them, then the EAB, I'm sorry, the USDA then feels confident that the population of all 3 of those parasitoid wasps are thriving in the area. If we don't get all 3 this year, there's a possibility that 1 or more of them could be re-released in the future, just to ensure that we have a population establishing.
Are you going to make copies of the slides that you showed available anywhere? I just would like to look at the parasitoids one more time before.
Yeah, we'll maybe not necessarily the slides. We have a flyer that Robert mentioned earlier that will be present every survey, but I have like a PDF file of that, and I can include that directly in the follow-up email. And I think it might be on our website too. I can double check and make sure it's on the website as well, so it's easy to access.
That'd be great.
And yeah, there'll be copies every survey anyway for your use.
Okay.
And once you start doing it, it kind of becomes second nature. So and
I'm
like
sure you-
Robert said, we'll be there to guide you, and we have some repeat volunteers that have become pretty much experts in this as well that have agreed to assist with the lab portion. So
People,
you'll have plenty of support.
yeah, and you'll become an expert. People are impressed when I talk to other people at conferences about how we run this yellow pan trap survey
Right.
with an all volunteer crew for 4 months, and the volunteers come again and again for every week for 4 months, and find all three of the parasitoid wasps. They're just so impressed. I mean, it's just, I don't have to think of a better word. It's impressive that what you all do. People, I guess, I had confidence. That's why we came up with the program there, like that the volunteers could do this, and hopefully, other folks will be borrowing that idea, because volunteers can do outstanding work, and kudos to all of you.
The
Yeah, and
fir-
I'd also like to just give a quick shout out to the Rice Creek Field Station too. Kristen's on the line here. Thank you so much, Kristen, for, helping us get the lab and all the materials and securing the space and making sure we can run this program there. We couldn't have done it without the support of the field station.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you to the Rice Creek Field Station. I mean, they've been extremely helpful.
The first date is,
First date, Megan?
Oh, June 2nd is the first Wednesday in June. So
10 a.m.
yeah, 10 a.m. Unless I'm looking at my calendar wrong, which I've been known to do. So let me double check that one more time. Oh, I'm sorry. June 2nd is Monday when you'll get the email. That's why that was stuck in my head. And the 4th is that first Wednesday. So it's every Wednesday beginning on June 4th and ending, I believe, on September 10th. Yep, September 10th. But you'll get the emails on Mondays. So Monday the 2nd is when you'll get that first email. So just look for it on Mondays and just reply to it if you're going to join us that week. You're welcome to join for as many of the surveys as you want. And the more that you join, the cooler prizes you get. So
Yeah,
everybody that
that's
came up last time just kept on getting different stuff every time they came. So we've got lots of different goodies and things to
Yeah.
hand out, and
that's
it'll be a
what.
fun time.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about how we're running this volunteer event, is that each week kind of is its own event within the bigger event of the pan trap season. So if you come that week, great. If you can't come that week, we understand. So just we don't hold that against you whatsoever. People got other things to do in their lives. So just we just want you to let us know one way or the other. Yes, then we'll see you on that Wednesday. No, okay, we'll see you next time that you say yes.
Yeah, I'll just jump in for a second from Rice Creek to say thank you so much to Robert and Megan and everybody on this call who would contribute to this project, because it's a huge service to us to get these parasitoids establishing here at Rice Creek and maybe give some hope for our young ash trees. So really
Right.
thanks to all the hours that everyone on this call has or will be contributing to this project. And when you're here, please feel free to use the facility, use the space. If you need to bring a snack or lunch, we have a break room, please feel welcome when you come to the station.
Thank you, Kristen. And it's a beautiful place. If you haven't been there before, there's a lot of nature trails and some very nice plants that are growing, even aquatic plants out back in the pond. So it's a good place to explore as well. It's kind of like a hidden gem in Oswego. It's like this big metropolis, and then you've got this little nook over there with all sorts of beautiful natural areas to explore.
Yeah, if anybody's interested in spotted lanternfly traps, and I didn't ask yet, but Kristen will probably be nice enough to let me there set up another spotted lanternfly trap this year. It'll be located right near the Rice Creek Field Station building. And I am happy to bring any of you over to it and tell you all about the spotted lanternfly trap program.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining. And pretty soon, as soon as I can get the recording link and everything uploaded, I will send out a follow-up email with all of the things promised. So sometime this evening or early tomorrow, you'll get that email. And thank you for the reminder and the question about the identification flyers. I'll double check and make sure that that information is included. All right, well, have a good day. That concludes our presentation. We look forward to working.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trying to figure out how to stop it. Stop recording. Are you sure you want to stop the recording? If yes, you'll receive an email notification when the cloud recording is ready.